happiness and laughter.
Whether it's a cackle, a giggle, or a belly laugh. Whatever your type of laughter, 32 FM 949 has got you.
After the tactics comes the play.
What's he going to do?
After the play comes the goal.
Could be the match winner from Lionel Messi. Ronaldo! Aguero, they'll do it. It's a terrific goal.
After the goal comes the uproar. It's sports on 32 FM 94.9.
Can he play?
The best players in the world and their best plays. It's sports on 32 FM 94.9.
A great afternoon and once again to everyone who has joined us on today's edition of the show. It's the start of a new week, and definitely we are here to take a look at everything that transpired over the course of the weekend in the world of sports. And of course, what the week holds, what we'll talk about the exciting world of sport. I know for many, their attraction or their attention would be towards the UEFA Champions League games set to go down later this week, Tuesday and Wednesday. But for me, I would like to go back to what happened over the course of the weekend, but not in football now. It is from the interesting world of Formula One. What happened there at the Las Vegas Grand Prix? Well, of course, for many, they know that it's the McLaren duo of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris who definitely started the season like that, a duo on fire. But you look at McLaren, weeks, months before now, they've been crowned the champions of the constructors. And then you see where it goes down to the wire. We now have a new man, not a new man now. He is used to winning. He has won 4 drivers' championship. And now it looks like this man would just edge out his 5th drivers' championship. His name is Max Verstappen. His second victory on the Las Vegas Grand Prix, well, definitely did not only keep his slim championship hope alive, it also gave us lots of numbers to digest, and what we talk about is involvement there in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. A winning margin, 20.741 seconds, the largest ever in Las Vegas Grand Prix. And then his 8th victory in the United States, 4 in Austin, and also 2 in Miami, and now 2 in Las Vegas. And of course, his 125th career podium finish in 231 starts. But outside Max Verstappen winning, what was the real attention? What was the real attraction from everything that happened there in the world of Formula One? The McLaren duo of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris being disqualified. What happened, you would ask? I have David, Super David, join us on the show this afternoon. And together we take a look at everything that happened in the world of Formula One. Just also looking ahead into the penultimate Grand Prix for the 2025 season, which definitely is the Qatar Grand Prix at the end of this month, before the last one, December 7, there in Abu Dhabi. Well, it's definitely going to be the races of their lives. Talking about Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen. Well, we talk about that. Football stories for Arsenal Football Club. 6 point clear at the top of the summit there in the English Premier League. They look unstoppable, but surely a lot of people have said once we get into the month of December, it's all about the factory reset for Arsenal Football Club. Will that happen this season? But you go to Spain, the lead has been cut short between Real Madrid and FC Barcelona. In Germany, 2 goals down. Bayern Munich came back to win their game. Michael Olise, he definitely was at the heart of it. And then you talk about 𝐾𝐈𝐒. I saw a goal in which 𝐾𝐈𝐒 scored while in his youth days with that Eintracht Frankfurt in their academy. And this boy was really destined for greatness. But at the age of 17, we see what he's pulling also with Bayern Munich in the Italian Serie A. I think it's all about the glory days are for the old ones in the Italian Serie A. Because you look at Roma, top of the table. You look at AC Milan, winning over Inter Milan over the course of yesterday, 1-0. And then you look at that's Napoli also, defeating who? That's Atlanta. And then you see, where's the title going to head to later by the end of the season in Italian football. So all of this we'll discuss on today's edition of the show. And rightfully, I would start straight from the world of Formula One, where we'll get the thoughts of Dave as regards what happened over the course of the weekend in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I have DOLAPO with me in the studio. I know he's just a happy man with Arsenal getting that 4-1 victory yesterday over Tottenham Hotspur. But the bigger test and challenge lies ahead of Arsenal Football Club. We did get one over Bayern Munich later this week, and the weekend over Chelsea Football Club. Good afternoon, Dave.
Yeah, good afternoon, SAMIES, and good afternoon, DOLAPO. It's a pleasure to be here once again.
Well, definitely been a pleasure. Let's start straight from the interesting world of Formula One. Everything that happened over the course of the weekend here in the world of Formula One. I know that this season has been one like maybe we didn't see Max Verstappen in the picture, but in the last 5 races, Max Verstappen has come out to say you can't write off a defending champion. And now it looks like he's just going to challenge till the final day to win his 5th Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the story of how it has been so far. At some point, it's brought down now to 24 points. At some point, it was over 100 points, and people already ruled out Max Verstappen. But this is Formula One, and it's one where you can't predict where it's going to go to. But maybe at some point you can predict and say the McLaren drivers were going to cruise on with things. You already mentioned it earlier that they are already title. They've won the title already for the constructors. Yeah, absolutely, and they've gotten that one just about how many races ago? 3 or 4 races ago, they've gotten that one already. You can see that we're only just waiting to see who is going to be crowned champions at the end, either Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri, the 2 drivers from McLaren. Because once you win your constructors championship already, you just can already know that or predict that for the drivers, it has to be one of the drivers from that same team. But right now, it looks like it's a 3-horse race as against 2. It used to be 2, but now it's 3. And why is that? Is because the team who have won the Constructors' Championship, talking about McLaren, have had recent nosedive when you talk about their drivers. There was one of the races, can't remember the venue, where the 2 of them had the DNF. That's the 2 of them did not finish the race, and we've had crashes from one of the drivers in certain races. But just quite
the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Yes, that's in Baku. And one of them, the 2 got disqualified yesterday at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. And
can we know the reason why they got disqualified yesterday, despite finishing 3rd and 4th?
Oh, okay. So once at the end of every race, there's something they call there are checks. When you talk about the Formula One body, that's FIA. They have checks on each of them, talking about the drivers and their cars. So for those who follow Formula One very well, after each race, once you see them coming out of their vehicle or from their cars, they go on to get their weight checked. They don't move any other place. They go to their weight check to just check in case there's anything like drug enhancement or some things that have aided them. It's just like football when you have doping tests ahead of matches, or in athletics you have dope tests that are done on certain athletes before and after certain events like that. So it's the same for Formula One. Of course, we can't have cheating in the competition. Everyone has to be, has to follow a certain or optimum measurement when it comes to certain things, and there are rules when it comes to sports generally. So for the
All right. While we try to reconnect well, I think Dave is still with us now.
yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So my call was just trying to come in. Sorry for that. So what happened yesterday was quite unfortunate. So the rear end of their cars, talking about their cars, it's breached one of the article rules of FIA. So it's more like a technical issue. It's not the fault of the drivers, but the fault of the team. So once they have cars like that, it's not that they just bring the car and just set out to drive. The cars also follow certain rules and regulation. So basically, it has to do with the thickness of the rear end of their cars. So it requires a minimum of 9 millimeters. So what they measured at the end of the race at the Las Vegas Grand Prix yesterday was that it's got to a maximum of 0.12. It's exceeded that certain amount.
Certain weight.
By both drivers. Exactly. That was the weight of both for both. And once that they know that there's been a sort of a breach in that, meaning that aided your win or that aided your performance. Even if you were the last on the in the race, you'll still be checked. Because we are talking about competition here. Everybody has to have a fair share of competitive rules when you talk about this. And it's a very long rule book. So the FIA found them to be guilty of that. And the team McLaren have come out to say that it wasn't deliberate, that it was a technical issue and a technical glitch. But again, there's been a lot of conspiracy theories, and people have been coming up that why is it at this point? We have 3 races left, and theirs happened at just like 3 races to the end of the season. So why is it like that? Because something like this, that was in 2021 for Lewis Hamilton. That even happened at the last race where Max was in contention to get the championship with Lewis Hamilton, and somehow Lewis wasn't able to get that title for himself, but Max got that at his own expense in that particular one. So yeah, quite sad for McLaren. Both drivers had to be disqualified. They had to, when there's any breach like that for the team, the drivers get to suffer it.
All right. Well, I heard Dave there saying about. What did you say?
Yeah, I said the team is one of the team. The team have rules. The drivers have to follow racing rules. While for the constructors, which is the team, they also have rules. They also have to guide by when you talk about building up these cars and also setting them for race days, or race weekends, basically.
But one thing I want to ask you now is, well, we've seen McLaren from last year, and that's last season, 2024. Of course, they did their beat last season. They won the constructors also last season, and this season they've won the constructors title. But one thing we thought that we're going to improve on is that the level of how will I put it now, responsibility for their drivers. We saw Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris last season, but we've seen them at the start of this season, majorly in the first half of this season. But going into the second half of the season, it looked like McLaren, they were clueless in their pick for the driver of the driver they should actually put forward in all of these things. And now, what I want to say is that their strength basically is now their biggest undoing, because it looks like none of their drivers would actually go home with the title, with the way Max Verstappen has actually caught up on all of these drivers. Because on the standings now, Lando Norris has 390 points. Oscar Piastri has 366, alongside Max Verstappen, who has 366. Then you see it's just a 24-point gap between Lando Norris, who tops the standing, and Oscar Piastri, including Max Verstappen. So it takes a one more victory for Max Verstappen to actually be in pole position to win this. And maybe one do not finish from either Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, anything is possible at this point in time. Just 2 races left, but part of those 2 races, you have one that has extra points for them to win, which is the Qatar Grand Prix in Lusail this coming weekend, and that has the sprint race. The sprint race allows them to win extra points, so that might be the deciding factor to look at things from. You can't just say Max will win both races. You just cannot tell. You don't know the team that will turn up to have the best car on each of those race weekends. So I feel it's one that will go down to the end. That's in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But let's see what will happen this coming weekend. But yes, I want to key into what you said, that there's been this talk about who should be the first driver, who should go ahead or take the leading role when it comes to this. I don't think anybody should have that kind of fair advantage in this. We call it a Formula One race. So why do you have 2 drivers when you are pitching one ahead of the other? So I like that particular way or rule that they've had this season. That's talking about McLaren, or even last season, where they allow both drivers to race themselves. Yes, we've seen it over and over. If you cast your mind back, for those who have followed Formula One over the years, cast your mind back to 2016, where Lewis Hamilton was in the same team, that's Mercedes, with Nico Rosberg. It was like a feisty affair between both drivers. Yes, I think that's what makes Formula One interesting. You just can't have a team and you just have one person spearheading things for the team. What is the competitive nature of the other driver? Why not allow the other person also race, even if it's with the driver, his own teammates or other racers too in the game? So I enjoy what the McLaren side have done so far. They left it open. They threw the gates wide open for them to compete themselves. So it's understandably why things have turned out in this particular way. But I think where things went down south for them is when they come to a point where they have to clash with themselves. At that point in time, I think that's where they need to do things on the rear end and check things, because emotions fly high when it is race day and things begin to go down south for the drivers. So I think that's what they need to check, their own rear end. But it's Formula One. It's not one that you do love and lights or do what's that word they say? There's something they do, kumbaya. Yes, it's a competitive kind of sport. Exactly. Somebody has to win. There has to be a winner. Exactly. So that's how things has been so far. But I think the rules have been fair to both drivers, and there's been conspiracy stories that Lando has been pushed to win ahead of Oscar because of some rules that have not favored one of the drivers. But hey, I don't want to judge by that. Oscar Piastri has led all through this first half of the season, but it's surprising that things have just gone down south. I think it's the same way this this season also, because at the second half of the season, things just dwindled down for Oscar Piastri, and he's not been able to get that maximum kind of performance that we wanted from him so far. But it's a whole lot of things. I think we are just happy for where it has gotten to. It looks much more interesting and feisty at this point in time. So expect anything this coming weekend and next week also.
Just before I let you go, Lewis Hamilton says he's not looking forward to the 2026 Formula One season. What do you have to say about that?
Hamilton, yeah, it's been a very, very torrid season for him. A lot of people would have said he shouldn't have moved. Probably, or maybe not. It's been a lot of back and forth concerning that, and it's quite sad that Ferrari has gone this way. Ferrari in recent times have just been disappointing. No, it's quite tough for all Lewis Hamilton fans this time around.
In total, just the 7 that's podium finishes for that's a Ferrari, and none from Lewis Hamilton, just Charles Leclerc, but he didn't win any.
Charles Leclerc. Yeah. It's quite disappointing that it has been this way, because for an experienced driver, you would have expected more from Lewis Hamilton, but it's a different car. He's never driven a Ferrari car before. So there are a lot of teams, they have their own rules, they have certain ways of driving the car, they have certain regulation that guides how they drive, and these are the different race engineers also, different race supervisors. So It's bound to happen. But for Lewis Hamilton, I don't know how he's found it difficult for him to adapt to the rules at Ferrari. You can understand for Charles Leclerc, he's been at the team for over 2-3 years right now. So it's quite understandably for him because he will just continue with what has been on ground for a while. But it's new for Lewis Hamilton. We don't want to underrate his legendary status, winning 7 titles already. That's not a means feat for him. So you know that it's not just, well, some people also counted that is he aging? But we've seen drivers that are older than him that still did quite decently for themselves. There's Sebastian Vettel over the years, there's Michael Schumacher over the years too. So you just can't pinpoint age to him not performing. But for Ferrari, it's been all down south for him. But let's hope that things change with the new rules in 2026.
Thank you so much, Super Dave, for joining us on the show this afternoon to definitely talk about Formula One. I hope next time we will call on you, you would be there to answer us.
Yeah, the door is always open. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Well, the program is still the pitch. Not the pitch now. Scoreboard Reloaded, right on 32 FM 94.9. And you're still locked onto the voice of Oluwatimile SAMIES. I have DOLAPO with me in the studio. And now we talk about a football story. DOLAPO, your highlights over the course of the weekend, excluding Arsenal's and North London victory over Tottenham Football Club.
Well, good afternoon, Samis. Good afternoon to everyone who has joined us on the show this afternoon. A lot of interesting things happened over the weekend, starting from Saturday. Maybe I should pick it from Saturday nights when Rivers United played so well in the first half of the game against Pyramid of Egypt, and I was thinking maybe if Finidi George and his boys had something in pockets for me in that game, probably they would get a point against the African champions. But then they were not able to do that. Considered 3 goals in the second half of that game, and they lost 3-0 in their first game of the group stage in the Champions League. And also in the Premier League as well, I saw the likes of Nottingham Forest playing so well again at Anfield against Liverpool. The way and manner Liverpool played in that game was a bit questionable for the amount of money they spent, and also for a champion of the league. Liverpool now sits 11th on the Premier League standing, and that is sad. From a team that won the Premier League last season, from a team that spent so much during the summer window. They spent a whole lot, and now they are struggling with form. Their coach, they've lost 6 of their last 7 games, and that is how bad it's been. Then later, it looks bad at that time, but then later on in the evening, Manchester City also lost against Newcastle United in a game where they would have lost more. In a game where we saw a whole lot of chances missed, especially in the first half. The first half should have ended maybe 3 or 4-1 for Newcastle United, but they missed a whole lot of chances, and also Iggy Donnarumma was also good for Manchester City in that game. So a lot of interesting games, and also during the weekend we saw Barcelona went back to the Camp Nou for the first time in close to 2 years or 3 years, and they performed so well, defeating Athletic Bilbao so well. 4-0 is not easy, and also for them now, they are just 1 point behind Real Madrid on the table, which is something very good to bring the competitiveness back for them, knowing fully well that things will be going this way. If things continue this way, Madrid have not won any of the last 3 games now, and this is something Real Madrid fans and the coach Xabi Alonso should be worried about, because before the international break they failed to win their last 2 games, and you would think, okay, maybe after the internationals they'll get it back again. Well, Oche said no again yesterday night. So a lot of interesting things happened over the weekend.
Been quite a lot of things that happened over the course of the weekend. Now, we talk about that big victory for AC Milan also in the Italian Serie A, defeating Inter Milan 1-0. They call him Captain America. Christian Pulisic was the one. He got the winning goal in the 54th minute in that encounter. We call that the Milan Derby at the San Siro Giuseppe Meazza, a stadium in which both club sides they definitely occupy.
That is what happened when you can't take your chances. Inter Milan should have won that game convincingly. They kept on wasting chances. I think it's the post twice in that game. They missed a whole lot of chances in that game.
A penalty was saved also.
Yeah, Akan Çalhanoğlu is not a man that loses a whole lot of penalties, but then I was expecting him to score that penalty. Immediately I saw him step up for the penalty, and I said, Çalhanoğlu do score penalties very well. He's a very good penalty taker. But then yesterday was probably not just his day. He missed the penalty. Inter Milan lost. They missed too much of chances in that game, and it's just very good for AC Milan. Now they are 13 games unbeaten in the Italian Serie A. That's so good for for the Italian side, knowing fully well that they are not going to play in any UEFA competition this season. Probably they can just do what Napoli did last season, because this was the same way Napoli started under Antonio Conte last season, and they kept on winning their games, winning important games. And AC Milan have started like this also, so it's going well for them. Hopefully they can keep it up.
Hopefully they can keep it up. In Spain, Real Madrid 2-2. The game ended between themselves and Elche yesterday, and we'll talk about their performance as well. 1 point now they lead over Barcelona.
Shots now.
What's it called? The Spanish La Liga. But we talk about the big one actually in England. It was.
I thought you wanted to skip that.
You thought I was going to? Well, I have the authority, I have the power.
Yeah, you can do what you want to.
Eberechi, hat-trick against Tottenham Football Club, a side he almost joined during the summer transfer window. But it was just a late call from Mikel Arteta, and we call that an hijack. So, in his first North London derby, he scored a hat-trick against Tottenham Football Club.
And that's the first player to score an hat-trick in the Premier League era against Spurs in the North London derby. So good, very good game to watch yesterday. Maybe if you are not a Spurs fan, probably from a Spurs side of view, it's not a good one to watch. I saw the lineup and I was asking myself what Thomas Frank was trying to do in that game. That was the first time since he joined Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League that he would play 3 at the back. He was trying to play 5 players at the back, and kept on opening spaces for Arsenal in the middle of the park. And also good performance from Arsenal without their striker again, Victor Gyökeres. But Eberechi Eze, Leandro Trossard has been very clutch for Arsenal this season. You might look at it and you say it does not really have good performance when you watch him play proper, but then he still knows how to get goals for Arsenal, get goals, get assists. And that was just a very good performance for Arsenal. That is the type of performance you want to see from a team that wants to win the league, especially when teams like Manchester City could not take all 3 points against Newcastle on Saturday. Liverpool, I'm not very sure if Liverpool is their rival now, because Liverpool are now 11 points behind Arsenal. So, but especially when you look at what happened to City, that was a game they should have won, and very good for them. They need to win such a game, knowing fully well that they have 2 big games in front of them, against Bayern in the UEFA Champions League and against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge Stadium, where they've not won any of the last 2 Premier League games. So, good, they need to win that game to get the momentum back, and that was such a very good victory for Mikel Arteta's boys yesterday. Now going into the game set to go down today, victory for Manchester United over that Everton would take them to 21 points, but because of their goal difference, well, it depends on the number of goals they score against Everton, though they'll move up within that 4th or 5th position there in the English Premier League. Well, should Everton also get a victory, they'll go on to 18 points. That's still within the mid-range of the standing. But now, how important of a game is this for Manchester United, just to push themselves closer to the top of the summit of the English Premier League, knowing fully well that a defeat or a draw might also be let's say the end of their challenge. United have been very good before the international break.
20 seconds.
United have been very good before the international break. Well, they've not lost any of their last 5 games now, and they have a very good form against Everton. I'm expecting them to win, and it will be funny to see United. If United could win tonight, they would just be 1 point behind Manchester City. It's been impressive for them so far if you look at it on that range.
All right, thanks so much, everyone who has joined us on today's edition of the show. In the world of football, still set to go down in Italy, Torino against Como, Sassuolo against Pisa, and in the Nigeria Premier Football League, Kano Pillars against the Corridor City, Castellana against the Yimba, and in Spain, Espanyol against Sevilla. Thanks so much to everyone who has joined us once again.